I'm Eddie.
And I'm Dom.
Welcome to the special edition of the Monsters, Metal, and Moonsaults podcast. And Dom, to get right into it, they did it again. They fucking did it again. These stupid fucking idiots. I know, like, you're supposed to trust the process and see where the story goes and shit, but where's the payoff? This was leave it to the WWE to fuck up two endings in the same match. That is unfucking precedented.
They got me with the second one. So the second
Yeah.
with the second ending. The second ending they got me. I was like, oh my god, they're gonna fucking give us a payoff of sorts, and then
Yep.
the DQ made me go, you dirty motherfuckers.
Unfucking believable. I could not believe, like, yeah, same thing as you when because you texted me and you were like stupid ending or whatever it was.
Atrocious.
And I thought maybe you gave it away that Cody won. Like was it right after that point?
It was prior to the second fucking
Okay,
finish.
yeah. So that happened and I'm watching it and I'm like, oh, he kind of gave it away. And then when Cody was like, let's restart the match, I'm like, yes, motherfucker, yes, yes.
Yep.
And then
That's how
and
I
then like
felt.
like 90 seconds later, they did that bullshit with the DQ. I mean, the Sami Zayn thing, I mean, I get that he's going to be in the main event at friggin' Night of Champions now, but I don't know, man. That
I got when you're done, I got a tidbit to say about that whole Night of Champions thing after we get over
Go ahead,
tonight.
go ahead.
No. That fucking well, first of all, I understand from the business perspective, they got what they wanted. People tuned in tonight. There's got to be some kind of ratings because there's a world championship match on. There's a special referee. They baited the fans in to watch. However, how many times are you going to be fucking dirtbags and not give a payoff on something? And then not only that, shit on Gunther. Okay, because I
Exactly.
know I tuned in to see Gunther win.
Yep.
And when he didn't, I'm like, this really fucking shits on what they were doing with him at the end of 2025, going into 2026. And adios. Then the finish is how me fucking flabbergasted like I am right now.
Dude.
I was like, how the fuck do you do that?
Uh,
It's I understand the fucking business point. They want ratings. They brought people in, and fans are going to keep tuning in until they see what they want at the end. It's like back in the day, Dusty Rhodes used to say, "Put the title on a heel, and as long as the babyface is chasing them, people are going to tune in because they want to see the hero eventually win."
yep.
So I could see that being applied to this situation with Cody and Gunther. But what the fuck? I mean,
Well, the thing is, like, they could, it could be like, oh, okay, Gunther's gonna go over at Night of Champions, but at the same time, it's like eventually the fans are gonna be like, oh, he's just gonna lose again, and they're not gonna give a shit. You can only lure them in so many times, and now I think, like, now honestly at Night of Champions, I want Sami Zayn to win just because it would fuck everything up, but I know that's not gonna happen. Like,
actually, that's my pick.
Sami Zayn. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm going with Sami Zayn in the triple threat match, and the reason why is because first of all, it's in Saudi, and he's a Saudi boy. He's really the hometown boy there.
Yeah. Right.
Second is he kind of deserves the win. Maybe not at this point, but he does. I mean, he's the guy who has put his time in. He's done his work. He should at least get the title once, even if it's just a transitional championship run. Um, and the way they've set the storyline up at this point, I could see him winning in Saudi at Night of Champions and dropping the title at SummerSlam. But that's where I think it's going to go. Sammy's definitely involved in the finish. And I'm going with him winning versus Gunther pinning him in Saudi Arabia. to be the guy to take the fall because I don't think Cody's going to be involved in the finish either way.
Of course not.
Now they got to protect the Golden Boy.
But so Sami Zayn wins it, and then a month later at SummerSlam he drops it back to fucking Cody.
No, no, no. I think it's SummerSlam Gunther gets it. I do. They got to put
But
the belt on Gunther.
how do you? I mean, I guess how the story unfolds is how this might be answered. But how do you have a triple? How do you have Cody as the champion? He loses it and doesn't get pinned, but then you don't include him at SummerSlam in that whole thing. Maybe that's where Randy Orton comes in.
Bada
Yeah,
bing.
yeah,
Bada bing. That's what I
yeah.
was going to say. That is where Randy Orton comes back. However, we don't really know what Randy's status is with his injury. If it's legit and he's gone, which I kind of feel it is, unfortunately. But they do a rematch. They just do a triple threat rematch. Lazy booking. Lazy fucking booking. You do a triple threat rematch. And unfortunately, the match between Cody and Gunther, I think was good.
Yep.
I think it was a good match tonight and
It
got
was
ruined by a
stiff.
shitty finish.
It
Yeah,
was
it
it
did
was
that.
stiff.
And did you notice this? What I saw after the match, after the second finish, is a deflated audience. The crowd was out. It was just not into the rest of the show compared to that first match. And I think, from my perspective, that's how it was, and it has to do with how that fucking whole thing ended. What do you think?
Yeah, because I think people after that was still wondering, like, okay, what the fuck is going on? And then
Yeah.
I mean, you follow up a marquee matchup with Gunther and Cody. You talk about how it's not going to have any commercial breaks and all this other shit to build it up, and then we got what we got. This was classic like 1980s booking where they would completely shit on what the fans wanted to see. But I don't trust that WWE is going to deliver what the fans want to see in 2026. So I don't I'm curious to see how it unfolds, but I'm still too pissed because of what I just friggin' saw, you know?
So I got a question for you. From completely a fan's perspective in 2026, what is it that you want to see in this feud between Cody and Gunther?
I want to see them mix it up and not have, where Cody is Hulk Hogan, where he just, okay, he's gonna win again. Okay, he's fighting Gunther, he's gonna win. All right, he's fighting Sami Zayn, he's gonna win. All right, he's fighting LA Knight, for instance, he's gonna win. I don't want to
Mm-hmm.
see that. I know, he's a merch machine and he's got the Wheatley shit going on, the podcast and fucking what movie's in? Street Fighter?
Street Fighter. He's in Street
Yes.
Fighter. He plays Guile of all characters too. Yeah.
Yeah. So I understand they want to maybe it's TKO saying, you know what, don't take the belt off Cody yet. Not yet. He's still hot. He's still selling merch. Look at these fucking analytics. Shit like that. I mean, that could be the issue too, which it's making me sound like a Triple H sympathizer based on our last episode, but I don't know. I don't know. They're fucking idiots. That's the bottom fucking line. You know what? They're fucking idiots. Like the whole SmackDown episode, it was almost pay-per-view worthy as far as the matchups went.
Yeah.
You had Liv Charlotte, you had a tag team championship match, you had like Ricky Saints and Carmella Hayes fighting each other for like the 50th time.
With
Um,
with possibly one of the more believable endings I've seen in wrestling.
yeah, that was actually I don't want to say, but it was like an AEW ending where they had a match and then there was a finish where somebody won and somebody lost.
But I want to be more specific on my thoughts on it, if you don't mind, because an exposed turnbuckle, which finally the turnbuckle's gone. Someone got knocked out by a fucking exposed turnbuckle for a change. That
Yep.
hasn't happened since the 80s.
Yeah, that's true.
And
Yeah.
Carmelo hits the back of his head on it, and he's knocked the fuck out. It's like, are you fucking kidding me? That makes perfect fucking sense. It
Yep.
actually is a believable finish. The guy cracked the back of his head against a piece of fucking steel.
Yep.
Down he goes for a 3 count. Makes sense to me.
By the way, have you noticed how much bigger the WWE turnbuckles are now?
Yeah, you got to fucking see the ads.
They are they're fucking massive. That's right. I
You
never
got to,
thought of that. They got to see the ads.
yeah, you got to see the fucking commercials. You got to see the Dodge Ram. You got to see fucking whatever the prime drink. You got to see fucking
Riyadh,
Trojan condoms.
Riyadh
Riyadh, yeah.
season.
Riyadh season is forever in season. Get the fuck out of here with Riyadh season.
Notice you don't see the real American beer anymore, though.
At all, man. No,
Yeah.
and you know what? It's um,
It may
we'll
not
save
be
the
in
Hulkster.
existence. May not be in existence anymore.
It might not be because the Hulkster's no longer in
Right.
existence.
Right. Right.
We got to do a podcast strictly about the Hulk.
My pleasure.
Yeah, I'm down. I'm down because there's a lot to talk about, but the controversy and the fucking reality of Hulk in
Yeah.
wrestling,
Yeah.
in wrestling. Forget about the rest of the shit. Um,
So
so,
so back to SmackDown. I
yeah.
thought the rest of the show was decent. I don't know. I can't believe I'm into this shit, but the Danhausen shit's funny to me.
I'm actually the Danhausen shit I saw tonight with fucking Zack Ryder. Zack fucking Ryder
Yes. Yep.
was great because he got his buzz, he got electrocuted, and it's woo woo.
Yep.
It's back to being Zack Ryder. Matt Cardona, you deserve all kinds of credit for fucking cashing in the paychecks that WWE is sending your way right now. And I really want to throw this Triple H's way, but whoever it is that's booking Danhausen, 2 thumbs up because you're doing the right thing with it.
I'm gonna go on a limb and say Danhausen is booking Danhausen.
I can't disagree with that because Danhausen was a huge success before the WWE. He sold his merch on his own. The only place he's seen the flop was AEW, and we'll leave that for a different conversation.
Yeah, they just didn't know how to grasp that character. But anyway, like you said, another time.
Booking, booking.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, I SmackDown was the rest of SmackDown was good, but there was such a dark cloud cast over it with that stupid fucking idiotic bullshit at the beginning. And I I really liked when Gunther attacked friggin' Sami Zayn and Gorilla. Like you never see that.
No, that was good. The angle with him and Sammy is really good, and there's actually why I could see them having a one-on-one at SummerSlam because and they find something else for Cody. And the reason is that Sami Zayn dethroned Gunther as the Intercontinental Champion. Gunther has all kinds of heat with Sami Zayn right now because of how this ended tonight,
Yep.
the history, and if he goes over pinning Gunther in Saudi Arabia, there's all kinds of reasons for them to have a one-on-one at SummerSlam, which completely eradicates what I said earlier about a triple threat rematch, lazy booking. But if I was a booker, that's what I would do, and I'd find something else for Cody Rhodes for SummerSlam, like maybe a missing in action, where the fuck's he been for a while? CM Punk versus Cody Rhodes.
Oh yeah, that's true. But I mean, there's always the Randy Orton angle. But
Yeah,
we
the Orton angle is more realistic.
who knows what his status is though?
Um, I know you said earlier. Overall, SmackDown, the entire show was good, but it did have a dark crowd because of the finish, and I just feel like that did fuck it up. The crowd was taken out of it.
I
Uh,
I wonder where that came from. Like I can imagine myself in like that boardroom as one of those writers where Triple H is like, all right, here's what we're gonna do. Like I wonder how many of them are like thinking to themselves, holy fucking shit, is he kidding me?
see, this is
Like
where the
I wonder
God,
if Cody and Gunther and Sami Zayn were like, come on, man, really? Like you really want to you want to do this? Really? Yeah, it'll be excellent. Uh,
I got something about that. First is in today's wrestling world where they make big bucks to do nothing. all three of the motherfuckers probably. Excuse me, let me change my vernacular for the audience who might be PG. All three of those guys get nice paychecks, so they're going to do what they're told for their paychecks. They're all three of them in a status where they don't have to worry about building a legacy. And of course, my train of thought derailed after that. So there you go. Water had an effect. Um, I'll stop. The waterhead took over. You go ahead.
By the way, for you people who aren't familiar, Waterhead pretty much means big fucking idiot. So, right, exactly. Did it. That's Carlos Mencia. You know,
It
he just
was
he just got arrested recently.
good because he's a fucking prick for stealing everybody's
Oh yeah,
comedy.
he's a joke. He's a joke stealer, but he got arrested for tax fraud recently. Real quick,
No
yeah,
shit.
he owes like 300 grand in back taxes from like 2019 to 2024. Yeah, he's. I think they said he's facing like 11 years.
He's going to do longer than Mr. Snipes did. Snipes did 5 years, right? Something like
Well,
that.
they say 11, but good behavior, shit like that. You never know.
Turns out to five. But now,
Anyway,
fuck that guy, because it's about the only good thing Joe Rogan ever did in his life was he called that guy out at a fucking stand-up event.
oh yeah, that was
Um,
brutal too.
for stealing everybody's bits. But we'll get back on track.
Anyway,
Um,
but
back
that's
to
what we
that.
did. That's what we do here. We just, we proved that we don't just do three things. We're multiculturally pop culture oriented.
Yeah, and I'll go out there. Fuck Carlos. Fuck that dude. You know, stealing the comedy that he did. That's what turned me off to him was when I saw that. It's like, oh, and I don't like Joe Rogan. Never mind his podcast. I've never liked Joe Rogan. I don't think he's fucking funny. I'm glad the guy could fuck me up 7 ways from Sunday, but I just don't think the dude. Um, but him calling out Carlos on that fucking shit was stealing Bobby Lee, I think his name is, his
Yeah,
comedy bits
yeah.
and other people. And yeah, it was deserved. He deserved that. And Rogan doing it, it's like Joe Rogan can fucking hang with anybody in MMA. If you watch some of his shit that he
Yep.
does, his kicks and stuff, and what St. Pierre and other guys have said about him. So he has the confidence to stand up on a stage and be like, I'm calling you out, dude. I ain't worried about what you're going to try to do in retaliation either. And he deserved it. Mencia deserved it. The only reason why he even got TV shows because Dave Chappelle decided to run for his life.
Yep. Yep. Yeah. There was a time where I was a big fan when Carlos Mencia first debuted his first HBO special.
Mm-hmm.
It was hysterical. And I remember sharing it with a bunch of people because I recorded on VHS, and then like we went to go see him at the Comedy Store, and it was a big Carlos Mencia following for a little while for me and some of my friends. But as soon as I heard that, it was like, no, really? Like, fuck, man. Well, that figures, you know? And then, like, literal evidence, like, okay, here's this joke that was performed, you know, on this year, and here's that joke performed by Carlos Mencia several years later. So, yeah,
Yep.
yeah, it was pretty fucked up.
Um, for me, the funniest Hispanic cat out there is Fluffy.
Oh, yes, without a doubt. He's great.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he is great. Iglesias. Iglesias is his name.
Gabriel, yeah.
Gabriel Iglesias. Funny as fuck before he was a big star. Funny
Yeah.
as fuck as a big star. The dude can
Yep.
make fun of himself. Other people, he's good, and he deserved to sell out Dodger Stadium twice. So, he did fucking he earned that spot with his comedy, and he didn't steal shit from anybody else.
I couldn't believe that when I saw that he was selling out Dodger Stadium 2 times. I mean, I know there was a bunch of other acts there, but still, he was the headliner, and to do that 2 nights in a row, good. I couldn't believe it, but good for him. Totally.
Now, the headliner and all the fines he paid. There's an interview out there with him um, on YouTube where he talks about all the fines he had to pay because they went over. They went over the curfew.
Oh shit.
Like they didn't shut down until like 2 in the morning.
Oh
So
shit. Wow.
they caught all kinds of curfew problems. But you know what? Good for him.
Yep.
Good for him. A guy who I remember watching him on Comedy Central back in the day in like 10 seaters 10 people in front of his ass in like a kibitz room kind of place. And he made it to Dodger Stadium. So good for him. Fuck
Yeah.
Carlos. And back to power bombs and pile drivers.
Power bombs and power drivers. And
I remember what I was going to say earlier, too.
what?
So when with what I took over, I actually have a little empathy for Triple H in the situation right now with the booking because it can't be him making these choices. It can't be. He if you look back at what he used to do with NXT,
Yep.
this would have came to a fucking solid conclusion that made both storyline and fans happy to me.
Yeah, there was somebody commented on our TikTok. And by the way, we are on TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Spotify. So like, share, and subscribe. Like, share, and subscribe. Like, share, and
And
subscribe.
and Facebook. And yes, please like, share, subscribe. I'll throw it out there. If you never listen, no worries. No, if I'm not offended. Like, share, and subscribe helps everybody grow more than anything else. And Eddie takes care of the TikTok. I don't do that thing.
And yeah, and Dom saying, it's cool if you haven't listened yet, but because if he wanted to, you'd be in deep shit because he'd fucking come looking for you.
Your
So
fucking thumbs are in trouble.
you're right. Right. Um, I forgot what the hell I was talking about. Yeah, we're
Doesn't
on
mean
all the platforms. I forgot what we were talking about.
it was the
Anyway.
Triple H thing. I had thrown
Oh,
out there
yes.
empathy for Triple H.
Yes. Somebody commented, I believe it was on our YouTube or maybe the TikTok, where I was defending Triple H that maybe he's, having to deal with too much influence from TKO.
Hmm.
And somebody commented with, yeah, but let's not forget NXT was only an hour at the time when Triple H was booking it.
Very good point. Very fucking
So,
good point.
yeah, yes, very good point. So that could have a lot to do with it as well.
Yeah, it could have a lot to do with it. You got 3 hour slot to fill. Um, and I do remember when he originally took over booking for Vince, when Vince had to step down back, what was it, the pandemic, a little after the pandemic.
Yeah.
It was after the pandemic, 2021, when Vince had to step down for, the reasons that transpired. And Triple H took over. Everything went really good at that point, but it was a short period of time. And if you look at that boardroom right now, as we talked about before, maybe he is out of booking ideas. Maybe he has run out of creative concepts for what needs to connect with both business and fans today.
Well, but that's the other thing too. I mean, we know for a fact that like Jamie Noble's part of the booking team.
So is
Um,
Davari,
Davari,
Hurricane.
Hurricane, Chris Park, Abyss.
Yeah,
There are Michael Hayes is still fucking there.
fucking Michael Hayes. You know what? It's a good thing I'm a huge Freebirds fan from back in the day. I was like, how's that guy still around?
Yeah, but this is not that Michael Hayes. This is like Joe Namath on the Rams as opposed to the Jets, like on his like hanging on his last leg, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah, you're right, and I couldn't disagree with that. It's not Michael Hayes from the '80s, because even in the early '90s, because by the time he became Doc Hendricks in the mid '90s, he lost touch with everything. He just was there
Yeah,
for the paycheck.
yeah, yeah. But I don't get. And as said earlier, and everybody knows this. I mean, this whole big boardroom thing started with Vince. Oh, Paul E's another one that's supposed to be this master booker, and he's supposed to be in on the board meetings too. And it's still we're still coming up with this shit tonight.
Paulie Dangerously is excellent at having people break out of their comfort zones and
Yeah,
be themselves and get their characters over. As far as his booking abilities are concerned, ECW is fucking nuts. So we could talk about Paulie on a different podcast for a whole 90 minutes, my man.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah,
but
yeah. ECW was. I mean, he's still riding the wave of ECW 35 years later, and he's still like, oh, he's this respected, friggin' Booker. I know Jim Cornette's like, fucking Paul Heyman. He's one of the only ones. I mean, most wrestling fans just drool over Paul Heyman, but like you were saying, he's good at, taking people for the to the next level. But as far as booking abilities, you know, all right, we're gonna have the fans throw 70 chairs into the ring tonight. You know,
we can't use that one because actually that was I've seen it enough that that wasn't supposed to happen, and they actually stopped the show to tell the fans to stop throwing chairs in the fucking audience.
oh,
Um, but that has nothing to do with Paul. However, with Paul Lee, yeah, he can get guys to be comfortable and make the characters get over. But his booking abilities for finishes and everything else, nah, that's just
but the
I
thing is
don't
too,
fucking see it.
looking back on it, like look at Brock Lesnar for instance. Like, would Brock Lesnar not be over if he didn't have Paul Lee with him?
I don't
Honestly,
know. Actually, I think from my perspective, Paulie has a lot to do with it because we have an old school manager wrestler situation right there that doesn't happen very often anymore. Even going back to when Brock first hit the WWE, he had someone who could speak for him because he couldn't speak for himself, and did all the talking, and his work in the ring got him over. So
yeah, I guess,
with
yeah,
there was nobody else around at that point in time that could talk for Brock. There's no Jimmy Hart, there's no Bobby the Brain, there's nobody. There's a Paulie. And again, Paul knows how to talk somebody up. Instead of having that conversation with Brock Lesnar in an ECW locker room, so Brock can go out there and do it himself, Paul Lee's doing it for everybody for Brock in front of an audience. You see what I'm saying? He's doing the whole this is how we're going to get you out of your shell thing. I'm going to talk for you and get you over because he didn't need to do it. At this point in time, he doesn't need to be there. Brock's over 10 times over at this
yeah,
point.
of course, of course.
Um, because I actually think more because of his legitimacy than anything.
But
Um,
do you think that Paul Paul E is maybe the only fish in a lonely pond as opposed to the 80s where we had Bobby Heenan, Jimmy Hart, even Slick, Luscious Johnny V, all those guys. I mean, well, obviously Luscious Johnny V wasn't nearly as good as Bobby the Brain Heenan,
right.
but there were still more managers around. Well, even back to the 70s, the big three, Captain Lou, Grand Wizard, and Freddie Blassie, you pencil neck geek, world champion. Like Paul E's the only manager now.
It's true. It's true, and not in this specific order, but classy Freddie Blassie, Jim Cornette, Bobby the Brain, and Jimmy Hart. Instantly, the first four guys, if anyone asked me, greatest managers of all time,
Yeah,
because that was their job. Managers back then, their job was to talk their guys up, make them believable characters, and interfere in matches to back up the shit they said with their cheating,
and,
um,
and take bumps.
and take bumps. And Bobby the Brain's the best all time.
Yes,
I
easily.
think we've talked about this privately. Bobby Heenan's the number one.
Yeah,
I put Cornette at number two,
yeah.
and you know at close second because Cornette took some horrific bumps and he got everybody over. But
Scaffold match.
yeah, the scaffold match where he blew out his knees
Yeah, right.
because Ray Trail was like, "Whoops, I forgot to catch you." Um, and but Paulie does deserve one day when we have the greatest managers of all time conversation. Paulie deserves to be in there because of the things he did. Back then, he was a manager, but if we did an '80s managers conversation, I'm not putting him in that chat. But if we did an all time, he's got to go in there for the things he did for guys behind the scenes, and also he was really good with the Dangerous Alliance. The Dangerous Alliance was an excellent stable.
I was just gonna say, Dangerous Alliance. That's a biggie. I mean, it was late '80s, but Dangerous Alliance was up there with, it doesn't it gets overlooked a lot among the Four Horsemen, Keenan Family, NWO, DX, those types of stables. But when you look at who went through that stable, I mean, it definitely needs to be mentioned.
Ravishing Rick Rude, Stunning Steve Austin,
Hmm.
Arn Anderson, Bobby Eaton, Larry Zbyszko, all part of the Dangerous Alliance. None of those guys were ham and eggers. Um, I mean, Rude's WCW start would have been good without Paul Heyman, but with Paul Heyman, it put him instantly over, instantly to the top.
Yeah.
Um, and you knew something good was coming when Heyman had him unveiled as the Halloween Phantom that year against the Z-Man.
Yep.
And Rude, that was the beginning of the turn. In my opinion, that's the beginning of the turn for WCW to start heading in the direction they did. Was Ravishing Rick Rude's debut. Um, Gunther, since I took us off track, I see Gunther as a modern day Harley Race. And a modern day Harley Race is the kind of guy who should be winning matches and making the audience angry all the fucking time.
Yeah.
He should be putting the babyface over throughout the match, somehow finding his way to keep that title at the end of it. But does a fucking modern day Harley Race fit in 2026 wrestling as far as being the top guy, the guy you keep putting the belt on and having a babyface chase?
Well, I think the philosophy's changed. You don't put the belt on a heel because he won't sell as much merch. But now, like what you're seeing with the Bloodline, for instance, we're fucking veering again. This is going to be a 3 hour friggin' podcast.
People
Um,
need us. People love us. They should
um,
enjoy us. People should enjoy us over dinner, after sex, and on the toilet.
I like that. That's good. Bloodline, they're they're supposed to be faces, but they are not doing anything face oriented. I mean, I think this is this is this is what we've arrived at. This is the last, you know, the last line of defense from the cool heel that the NWO started. Like it's not everything's blurred now. There are no faces and heels. There are wrestlers.
I agree. I still think at the end of this bloodline shit, they're going to be the heels. I think it's just the slick cover up. And since
I
we're
hope
talking about, sorry,
I
go ahead.
hope I hope they know. I hope WWE has a plan.
Triple
I-
H is always talking about having plans, but how many times did his plans get fucked with by TKO?
right, right, right. Well, uh, I mean, we'll see. I'm anxious to see how Night of Champions unfolds. I sit here and, I talk shit about WWE and I've been doing it for decades and shit, but I keep coming back. I'm a fucking mark. What can I say? I'm curious to see how Night of Champions unfolds into SummerSlam, but I'm still not confident that they're going to give the fans what they want in some form.
Well, couple things. First is, do you think they give a fuck about giving the fans what they want or the
No,
money they make?
no, they look at the analytics, they look at the merch numbers, that kind of shit, and that's how they determine stuff. It's not like,
So,
all right, this guy's good. He just won the Intercontinental Championship. He should be in line for a title shot based on, the kayfabe world. No, it's, who's got the most, who's selling the most merch and who they anoint, you know, the head of the company.
yeah, currently that's Cody.
Hmm.
I think since you brought up the bloodline situation, and tonight Jay ends up winning, which we got him and Obafemi in the finals of the King of the Ring, and man, booking me from both a fan perspective and a business perspective, I would put Oba over in that final. Reason being is fans want to see it. Oba's they're gonna don't man. He has the potential to be the biggest star they've had in ages with how much the fans like him. That's but um he ain't gonna win. He's
No,
not gonna win. He's not gonna win, and we all know why he's not gonna win.
of course.
There's an F5 of two in his future. So Jay wins the King of the Ring. We'll go ahead and predict. I'm going to predict it. Jay wins the King of the Ring. And since Gunther didn't win, where does that leave him challenging? Does he challenge Roman at SummerSlam after winning the King of the Ring? You know,
They
what do
they
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 what do
they'd
they do
have
with it?
to get that story going quick. Like you can't just have Jay win and out of nowhere challenge Roman at SummerSlam. You gotta there's gotta be something building toward that, toward him making that decision. I mean, I could even see it being where he wins the King of the Ring and he challenges Cody, and somehow Jimmy and Roman prevent Jay from winning because Roman doesn't want a head of the table.
Good point. It's a good fucking.
But I'm not sure because Roman is totally he's pulling the strings on this, obviously, which obviously he should because he's the OTC. But
KFC.
it's I'm wondering how it. I'm still curious as to how it unfolds, even after the stupid, fucking, ridiculous bullshit we saw tonight.
Yeah.
So,
Um, I want Over to win King of the Ring, and I don't give a shit. If he wins and then Brock costs him the title match at fucking SummerSlam, that makes more sense to me. But that's me speaking from a fan and not a booker. And I'm not a booker. If I was a booker, we'd be making millions right now, or whatever they make for booking matches that make fans happy.
well,
Um,
uh, but I mean, it makes sense to have the match at SummerSlam between Oba and Brock just because it is 2 nights, so they got to load them up. You know,
yeah, and Brock doesn't need to challenge for title, so
no,
and that won't be happening. So, um, they do that third match with Oba and Brock. I think it needs to be a last man standing match, or if you want to go super old school, cage match. But cage matches have lost their fucking meaning in modern day.
and they're having a cage match coming up at Night of Champions, right? Seth against Braun Breaker.
That's right. That's right. And I don't know. We'll do a predictions thing later.
Yeah.
Um, then back on the SmackDown tip, Ricky Saints going over. You know, again, I think he could win at Night of Champions. I think he could take the title off fucking Trick Williams because I think they have bigger plans for Trick. Which also why I think Sammy might win. I think Sammy's been upgraded to a main event player at this point. Even in the way they did it, him dropping that U.S. title Trick back at WrestleMania, and now toying around with Cody and Gunther, he's up in the main event scene.
Yeah. Yeah. I could say, and I eventually, yeah, Trick's going to be in that main event scene without a doubt.
He's too popular
So,
not to be.
it's just, is it too quick for him to drop that title to Ricky Saints now? Will he lose a little bit? I mean, he won't. He could lose it in a squash in 30 seconds and he wouldn't lose his credibility. I would
Whoever that
assume at
guy
this
is,
point.
whoever that guy is with him, that I'm never gonna remember his name. His sidekick, his version of Swerve Strickland's guy.
Yeah.
Because that's who he reminds me of. I wouldn't be surprised if that dude turns on Trick, and then that's why Trick loses because eventually something stupid like that's gonna happen. Trick doesn't need that dude. He's over. The crowd turned. The crowd naturally turned him. He was supposed to be a heel, and the crowd's like, nope, we like this dude. And he's good. He's good. He has potential to be up at that top of that ladder. Not
Yep.
yet, but he has what it takes to be up there as a future WWE
He'll
PLE main eventer.
He'll be there. Eventually it'll be like, Braun Breaker against Trick Williams, you know, night one or two at WrestleMania main
Yeah.
event. Eventually they'll get there. So, well, we've been yapping for a while now. We can bid adieu to give a nod to Kenny Omega, unless you got anything else.
That dude. Um, nah, Kenny Omega. We need to. Yeah, no, we're good for now. Let's just cut it.
Cool, cool. Well, as you can tell, this wasn't very smooth tonight, but we ended up going probably a lot longer than we wanted to. But in the next episode, we'll get back to our, wrestling monsters and metal type of format. And for all those of you like, oh, that's all you do is talk about WWE. Well, we're going to be touching on AEW in the future for sure because there's some big shit coming up with them. Because I personally can't wait for Forbidden Door. Um, we might even touch on what's left of friggin' TNA, which I don't know. The next time we do a podcast, they might not even be in business for all we know. A bunch of other shit. So anyway,
So,
Tom,
AEW is the reason I'm still paying attention to wrestling, not the WWE. And also, I don't think we need to be smooth and polished. First of all, we're new. Second of all, everybody else is smooth and polished, and it's too much smooth and polished, which makes it fake. So
well,
I
yeah,
hope
but
our audience.
at the same time, I don't want to like, and this is like pulling back the curtain big time with our massive audience at the moment. But I don't want, I still don't want to do like, all right, you want to wrap it up now? I don't know, you want to wrap it up now? Shit like that. But like I said,
we
this was kind of an impromptu, you know, shoot from the hip type of episode.
So this is right now is where you put in the whole fucking filler music, and we'll close it properly right now. Okay.
Okay. Well, I'm fucking Eddie.
And I'm Dom. Thanks for listening. And you know, we'll be back to tickle your eardrums once again.
Tickling eardrums, right? And also to end it, thanks for fucking listening.
Yeah, thanks for fucking listening.